What's going on, everybody? In today's video, the main focus is showing how I take an illustration of a character from grayscale to color. I had some folks on Patreon want to know about this, and I did a write-up, but sometimes it's a little easier if you can just kind of like see it happening as I explain it. So this video is kind of a mix between like real time and sped up time lapse, and I'm just gonna kind of chime in every time I get to a new step and kind of explain what's going on. So for now, just watch this time lapse of the actual character being drawn. I did this on a live stream or a couple streams over on my Twitch channel, which I'll link in the description for anyone who likes to watch me draw in real time. So now that I have my base gray in, I'm making a new layer in Procreate. This will be my shadow layer. So as you can see, I'm just titling it for the video. I'm not this organized when I'm actually working, but I set my shadow layer to multiply, and I'm using the same gray as the base gray. So this is going to be the same color you're going to use throughout the whole thing. So as you can see, this is sped up, but I'm basically just filling in my shadows. I'm just putting them, I figured out real quick kind of where my light source was going to be, and I'm just going to go through the entire image, filling in shadows. So I guess just watch that happen, and then I'll be back in a minute. So now you can see I'm basically doing the exact same thing as the shadow layer, but this time for my highlights. Same gray, just make a new layer. I'm naming it highlights, and you set the layer to screen. So I'm just going around the whole piece now, filling in the spots where my highlights are gonna be. Again, all going by the quick light source I kind of picked when I started. Just a real quick thing you might notice as well, like I kind of color outside of the lines a lot. It's because I have my base gray set up in such a way that I can just fill in, if it's by an edge, a huge section, just make it quick, and then I can just select invert and then go to the layer that's outside the lines and clear it, which will then just delete things outside the base gray. So that's why I'm kind of messy, so don't worry about that. So now that my highlights and shadows are all done, I'm going to go in, turn off the highlight layer since I'm starting with shadows, and then I'm going to select my Smudge Tool, which, as you just saw, I have it set to like the soft airbrush. You can use whatever you want though. I just use this because I like the effect I get. And then I'm just going to go around the entire piece on both the highlight and shadow layer, just kind of softening some of the edges. I like to leave a mix of hard and soft edges, just because it kind of gives me the look that I like. But you kind of do this to your own desire, right? Like whatever you're into, whatever gives you the results you want, that's what's best. So just again, to reiterate, I'm just going in with the Smudge Tool now. Now I'm on the highlight layer doing what I just did on the shadows, and I'm just going to soften some of the edges. I do try and take into account like what the surface is, usually like skin, scales, anything like that that's like fleshy. I'm going to try and usually soften a little bit more. Something that's harder like an armor or metal usually doesn't get softened as much. That's just kind of how I do it. Alright, so now we're going to get into the actual process of making this grayscale image into color. I have some colors already chosen, but basically what you're going to do is every part of the drawing that's going to be a different color. So like, you know, the skin, his hood, his pants, whatever it is, every different color is going to be on its own layer. So you'll see this in a little bit when I'm going to speed up the coloring. You're going to get to the end of it and I'm going to slow down again and show all the layers so you can kind of have a better idea of what I'm talking about. But right now we're just filling in flat color and making sure we do a new layer for each new color. Alright, so here you can see all my flats are in, each thing's on its own layers. You can see here when I go into my layers. And basically this is when the important stuff happens. So I think for this example, I think I start with the pants, but basically you can see so pants are their own layer. So now my shadow layer, my highlight layer, I'm gonna set to alpha lock. I also go in and show that you can do this with gestures in Procreate, but I never use that, so I don't remember what it is. I believe it's 3 fingers to the right. Anyways, you want this little checkerboard behind the layer. That'll tell you that it's alpha locked. So I do that for my highlights and my shadows, and then I go down to wherever I'm gonna start. So for this, I did the pants, and I'm gonna click on it and then hit select. So the only space I'm going to be working in right now is that section that's colored for pants. Now, the reason why this works is, so when you have a layer selected, or like a selection, right, you're only working within that defined shape. And then by alpha locking a layer, you're only coloring in the pixels on that layer. So I make my selection of the area I want to shade, then I go up to my shadow layer that's alpha locked, and then anytime I fill in something on that layer, it's only going in that selected section. And I kind of am just picking random colors for this demonstration, but all these Kuro characters, I'm using the same blue for shadows and like a greenish yellow for highlights. So when I show the final image later, you'll see that it's not the same colors I used for this demo, but I still did the same process of going through and selecting and then going up and filling in, so on and so forth. But that's basically it. That's how I take a grayscale image from grays to colors. Hopefully this was informative and entertaining. And thank you for sticking around to the end of this 20-minute video. If this was helpful, I don't know, leave a comment, let me know. Share it with a friend who maybe doesn't know how to do this and would like to. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.